technology. Yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Dengue is ordinarily a mild disease. Persons may get a fever, headache, joint and muscle pains. The illness is often resolved through rest and adequate hydration along with paracetamol to treat the accompanying fever. However, on occasions the illness can progress to severe dengue, which can result in organ failure, bleeding and severe fluid depletion that can lead to shock and even death. Therefore, it is important for persons who are experiencing fever, vomiting, severe abdominal pain, bleeding under the skin, feeling very weak, or getting confused to seek immediate attention. Let us work together to protect ourselves against dengue.
Remember, gambling is just a game. Choose to gamble responsibly. Set a budget, avoid chasing losses, and stop gambling when you reach your money limit. For gambling help, call RISE 888-991-4146. A message from the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you.
Can you imagine getting a marketable skill for free? Your government has made it possible for anyone wanting to learn a skill to get free training through the Heart and STA Trust. Learn a new skill and expand your horizons.
Jamaica, a jewel of the Caribbean. Our 1,022 kilometers coastline is adorned with harbors, bays, pristine beaches, mangrove swamps, and coral reefs. The name Jamaica, derived from the Taino word Jamaica, means land of wood and water. How fitting for a paradise where beauty flows from lush mountains through crystal clear rivers to turquoise seas. Our marine space is 24 times our land area, and we boast an array of endemic species, truly nature's masterpiece. Beautiful, isn't it?
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Pick up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the schools, track performance, access and attendance. From infant, primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam we are giving. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools. Yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend for all the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology, yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. We're changing the system. Watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Dengue is ordinarily a mild disease. Persons may get a fever, headache, joint and muscle pains. The illness is often resolved through rest and adequate hydration along with paracetamol to treat the accompanying fever. However, on occasions the illness can progress to severe dengue, which can result in organ failure, bleeding and severe fluid depletion that can lead to shock and even death. Therefore, it is important for persons who are experiencing fever, vomiting, severe abdominal pain, bleeding under the skin, feeling very weak, are getting confused to seek immediate attention. Let us work together to protect ourselves against dengue.
Remember, gambling is just a game. Choose to gamble responsibly. Set a budget, avoid chasing losses, and stop gambling when you reach your money limit. For gambling help, call RISE 888-991-4146. A message from the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you.
Can you imagine getting a marketable skill for free? Your government has made it possible for anyone wanting to learn a skill to get free training through the Heart and STA Trust. Learn a new skill and expand your horizons.
Hi, my name is Fayval Williams, Minister of Education and Youth, and this is our 2023 Year in Review. I'm so thrilled as I look back on the school year so far to see the number of children who are in our classrooms. It tells me that all across Jamaica, education is valued.
In 2023, the education and youth sectors saw highs and lows. One low was the news that 854 teachers had resigned between January and September. The Education Ministry's response was among the highs.
We had to act quickly in light of this to establish things like our job portal that allowed teachers who are out there, new teachers who are coming into the system to easily upload their information and connect with the schools. We also invited back retired teachers who wanted to continue to be in the classroom. That was a big deal for us as well. And as you know, coming out of our colleges or teachers' colleges, each year we have well over 1,000 new teachers coming into the system. So together, when we look at all the initiatives that we launched, it helped us to ensure that school started in September and that we had adequate numbers of teachers in the classrooms.
With that bounce back, the ministry pressed on with the concept of reforming education through the construction of STEM schools, announcing the first set to be located in St. Anne.
We have always traditionally taught science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but as discrete subjects, right? One by one, we want to integrate and create that environment where our children can see the magic of bringing together science, technology, engineering, mathematics, the arts, because, maths is in a lot of things we do. So we have to ensure that we focus on STEM as a meaningful part of the education process.
At the same time, there was increased student registration in the Sixth Form Pathways program.
Listen, that is my favorite topic to talk about. They have embraced the Sixth Form Pathways program. Well over 24,000 students are engaged in the three different segments. What their parents are seeing is that their students are gainfully engaged, and the Sixth Form Pathways program offers internship. We had to approach it from a lot of different angles. We do have, especially in our high schools, deans of discipline that we've had over the years. We've had to strengthen those as well. We have guidance counselors. We've added more guidance counselors in our schools. We do have a safety and security division at the ministry that looks over the program for our schools. You would have seen us work with the Ministry of Justice to introduce restorative justice practices in our schools. One of the things we're most proud of, we identified 34 schools that are really considered to be violence prone, and we're working with them. And in particular, we're emphasizing literacy.
It's important that as a Ministry of Education, we're supporting the efforts to ensure our children are literate. And so parents get to learn the strategies through the parent places, strategies in literacy, so they know how to support their children at home. My daughter is in grade 8. She's a teenager, 14-year-old. And I am telling you, this is like, when you're looking back at other children that you raise, it's the hardest stage. Believe me, and when you come to this, it's like you are not equipped. Coming to this session, I've learned a whole lot.
And we believe those initiatives are helping already in terms of seeing better behavior and better outcomes for our students.
The ministry also established another campaign to get remote students to school. The Rural Transportation Program serves about 7,000 youth.
If you go out in rural Jamaica on a school day, you're going to see students, children, waiting at bus stop, in the morning, in the afternoon, late afternoons. That's not what we want for our children.
Our school, with the help of the Ministry of Education, we are able to transport 60 students on the Rural Transportation Program. Previously, only 15 students were able to benefit from such a program.
With a move in the right direction, the ministry continues to transform education by opting to set a positive trend in 2023.
2023 was an exciting year in the Ministry of Education and Youth. We launched our program Trend. Trend really was just an advertising and PR arm to sensitize the nation about the work that is being completed under the Transformation Initiative, which was highlighted in the Patterson Report.
If you look back in history, there have been similar reports. What has not happened is that the ministry in prior years has really not taken on the implementation of transformation, but this time, we have taken it on. That's it for our major highlights for 2023. You can look forward to more transformation in 2024.
Students in the 24
of the Caribbean, or 1,020.
to have them, and Dr. Carr did a lot of work in making sure we had the analysis today from our Planning and Development Division. We have with us our very own Mrs. Winnie Berry, our Deputy Chief Education Officer for the Curriculum Unit. As you know, the assessment and the curriculum, they are inextricably linked. So what we are reporting on is really a reflection of what we did with our curriculum or our syllabi, because we know the CSEC syllabi. Those are what we assessed in 2024. Special welcome also to our DCO, acting Ms. Brim, for school operations, very important to what we do. We have with us our local registrar, none other than Hector Stevenson. He's the head of the Office of the Overseas Education Commission, and that is OEC, and they are responsible for the administration of our exit exams in Jamaica. They represent the Ministry of Education at the highest level, as they are an agency of the Ministry of Education, and he's supported by Mrs. Burnett, his deputy. Special welcome to you, Mrs. Burnett. We have, of course, Dr. Winsome Gordon, who is the head of the Jamaica Teaching Council. Very important to this conversation today because her mandate includes the improvement or the upskilling or the empowerment of our teachers in service. And so she has a massive undertaking as we talk about responding and improving the education system. We have other members of the leadership team in the ministries, leaders of divisions and leaders of agencies. They're in the virtual space and they are listening. We welcome you as well. Most importantly, our listeners out there in the cyberspace, our parents, our teachers, our principals, our students who are listening, special welcome to you. And we could not, not welcome the members of the media, You make this a very rich experience for us, and you are who we depend on to get the message out there. So special welcome to members of the media. So ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, it is about the performance report. As you know, the model of education in Jamaica is undergirded by our pathway policy. And so, though we are sharing today the performance on the CSEC and CAPE, this is just part of the suite of assessment that we offer in Jamaica. We do offer the City and Guilds exams. We do also offer the NCT VET exams. And of course, a number of our students choose to pursue their associate degrees as they exit their grade 11 programs. Remember, we have expanded our high school program to 7 years, and so students can choose to do CAPE. They can get an opportunity to resit some of their CSEC exams. They can choose to do their City and Guilds. They can choose, of course, to do their associate degrees offered in our community colleges and, of course, some of our private universities. And, of course, our students can choose to go to Teachers College. That's also part of the pathway. So we offer a suite of opportunities for our learners. But as it is today, we're talking about one of our exit exams. Well, examining body, that is CXC, and they offer for us CSEC and CAPE. So without any further ado, I welcome our minister to the podium to share the 2024 CSEC and CAPE performance report for Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you, PS. Good morning, everyone. I know that you went through the very long protocol list, and so I will say all protocols observed this morning and just jump right in. Let me say good morning to all those who are in the virtual space as well. Thank you for joining us today. I'm pleased to share with you the highlights from the results of the secondary level external examinations sat in May and June of this year, and which were administered through the offices of the Overseas Examination Commission. For context, I draw your attention to the fact that Jamaica's national policy on pathways to education is an initiative by the Ministry of Education and Youth that directly supports the government's commitment towards human capital development. It is aimed at better equipping secondary students for higher education and the demands of the 21st century workforce and beyond. This policy offers secondary students multiple external assessment options aligned with their educational tracks and career goals, including the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate that we know as CSEC exam, the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Exam, CAPE, City and Guilds exam, and the National Council on Technical and Vocational Education and Training, NCT VET. Against this background, I want to congratulate all of our students who sat the CSEC and CAPE exams. These are our premier exams in the region, but beyond the region, they're recognized internationally. I know it's hard work, and so you are to be commended. You sacrificed a lot and can now look back with satisfaction for those of you who did well. I just want to note that we've also received the data for City and Guilds and NCT VET, and so as we analyze these, we'll present them at a later date. I will begin by looking at the assessment of the CAPE 2024 results for public schools, bearing in mind that these are preliminary results and the final revised data set and analysis could result in either an increase, a decrease, or unchanged grades. So I'll start with the public schools. For this year, of the total CAPE entry subject entries, 43,661, or 95% were sat, with an average pass rate of 90%. Unit 1 had 31,783 subject entries, of which 30,136, or 95%, were sat, with a pass rate of 90% as well. For Unit 2, of those who sat, we saw a pass rate there of 91%. The CAPE Unit 1 and 2 results for 2024 did not show significant percentage variations from those of 2023. Only a difference of about 0.1% in 2024 when compared to the results in 2023 for Unit 1, and for Unit 2, a difference of 0.8% when compared to the results of 2023. However, we did see improvements in 13 subject areas in Unit 1 and 16 subject areas in Unit 2. We'll present this data. I don't want to read through all the subjects, but suffice it to say we saw improvements there for CAPE. And we present, I'm sure the data that we will be publishing will show you the year-over-year comparisons for CAPE. Again, I want to say congratulations to all our students that sat their CAPE subjects, and we wish you all the best as you transition to the next stage of your life. I want to turn now to the 2024 CSEC exam results for public schools. Some 33,235 students from public schools were registered to sit the CSEC exams, of which 31,660 or 95.3% sat. There was a slight decrease in terms of the registrations for 2023 versus 2024. For the academic year, Jamaican students in public schools were entered for 34 subjects in the May-June 2024 CSEC exam. This figure was consistent with the regional subject entries among Caribbean countries. The data show that there have been fluctuations in the regional performance in key subjects, specifically for Math and English A. And I will turn to those subjects to compare regionally versus Jamaica. So for 2024, Jamaica's math pass rate for public schools was 39%, and for all Jamaica, meaning public and private and other, that figure was 33.4%. When compared to the regional pass rate of 36%, Jamaican public school students surpassed this figure by approximately 3 percentage points. But when you look at the all Jamaica, which is public, private, and other, there was a decline of approximately 2.6%. For English A, well, let me say before I move on from math that I want to issue a caution in terms of the comparison of the figures, the passes for math in 2024 versus those of 2023. If you recall, during the peak of the exam season in 2023, 2 breaches were recorded. The first breach was on May 17, 2023, when the CSEC Math Paper 2 was leaked. CXC reported that it had determined the source of the leak and to mitigate, and was forced to use a modified approach where students were graded based on their SBAs and Paper 1. So it is, I would say, proceed with caution. I would not encourage a comparison with 2023 for the math exam. I think the best year for comparison would be 2022, because in that year, the students would have sat Paper 1, Paper 2, and had the school-based assessment as well. So public schools, the results there was 37.3% in 2022 versus 38.9% for public schools in 2024. Obviously, at that level, we are not satisfied with the performance of our students in their math exams, and so we here at the Ministry of Education and Youth, we have to redouble our efforts. We have to have an emergency plan for math to help. Region at 76% for increased year when compared to the 77% achieved in 2023. But the pass rate there is commendable. We'd love to get that higher, and it is something that we will be working on in the years to come. Turning now to looking at those students who would have obtained passes in 5 or more subjects, including mathematics and English A, a passing rate of 18%. Figures for 2023 of Jamaican students passing 5 or more CSEC subjects include Maths and English A of the grade 11 cohort that stood at 21% for 5 or more passes in the Jamaican public schools, inclusive of Math and English A. And I think the figures are on the screen. We will make these figures available to the press. I know that they are many. But, you know, suffice it to say that where we are in terms of passes, including Maths and English, we know we have a lot of work to be done there to get that figure up. And so I think I have presented the main points for this morning, and we will now open it up to question and answer unless there is another speaker after this.
Good morning, Minister.
Good morning.
So Shauna Small from the Gleaner. Minister, the math passes, you mentioned that we need an emergency plan. Can you expound as to, we're going to a new school year, what that plan is going to entail?
All right, that plan will entail us getting more math teachers into our schools. We know that currently we are encouraging persons to go to our teachers' educational institutions to focus on the STEM subjects, which include maths. You will know that earlier on this year, Minister Clark had announced several scholarships at Michael University, and he is also committed to expanding the scholarships so that we can get more STEM teachers coming out and into our schools. And of course, you know, STEM include mathematics as well. So that, you know, would be kind of a big focus to ensure that we continue to have those scholarships that will ensure that we see more math teachers coming into the classroom. In addition to that, obviously, and our Chief Education Officer is sitting here, I know that she has plans for math as well. And if, well, not just say if, I saw what her leadership did in terms of the PEP, the interventions that were put in place to help students. And I am sure we will come up with interventions to help our students in math at the high school level.
Thank you. Will that also include looking at the curriculum and how math is taught? There's a train of thought that, you know, just how we teach math needs to change because every year we're having these very, you know, low passes in the subject area.
All right. CEO, do you want to add a word here?
Good morning, everyone. You are indeed correct. We have been looking at who it is that we have teaching math. And so we are revisiting the curriculum at the tertiary institutions as well. We will be looking on who it is that go into the math program to ensure that we're attracting the best minds for math. We will be employing the coaching model throughout all high schools and at the primary level, where our coaches within the ministry, they will be given more hands-on guidance to our teachers and to see how best we can help in bridging that gap with pedagogy and the students' performance. We will also be looking at the primary level, we will be rolling out the specialist model where our teachers from as early as primary schools will be teaching subject areas, specifically with mathematics, language arts, the science, and social studies. So those are just some of the plans that we have in place. We will continue, however, to interrogate the data to look at the specific cases, what it is would have attributed to the performance at different schools, and we will be working with our leaders to ensure that we help them to bridge the gap with their teachers' competence.
Thank you. Thank you, CEO.
Hi, good morning, Minister and team. I'm Khaleesi Ride from Nationwide News Network. Recently, the Chief Executive Officer of the Caribbean Examination Council, Dr. Wayne Wesley, recently stated in an interview with us that a longitudinal study would be ideal in an effort to improve grades. So a program would be implemented to facilitate the long-term tracking of students' progress from primary school to the secondary level. This would allow them to see where students are at a particular time. So what is your view on this suggestion?
Within the Jamaican education system, we do a lot of assessment, starting at age 4 in our early childhood institutions, where for the last 2 years, I'm pleased to note that we began assessment of children on reaching age 4 just to assess them. It's not an exam, but just to assess them for early literacy, early numeracy, behavioral issues, and to see if there are any special needs in our students. That information, that data gives us good information as to the specific child. And that information is now, I'm happy to say, being collated and passed on to the primary school. So it goes with the child. So on reaching grade 1, the grade 1 teacher would know that this particular student Here's the profile of that student. The student will need some help here in math or English or whatever the area is, and that information can be used. I know at different levels as well. We have other assessment, the grade 1, Dr. Chu, the grade 1 individual learning profile, grade 3 diagnostics, for 4 PEP, grade 5 PEP, grade 6 PEP, and so on. I think where the gap is in the use of the information, of the data, just the consistent use of the data to help the children. And so maybe there we're going to have a special focus on helping our teachers to, synthesize the data and use it as the child goes along, because it is very useful data that can help to improve the performance of our children.
Minister, we are ending August, and it's around this time that we generally have all the migration for teachers figures coming in. So I want to find out if we do have those figures, and if we have a breakdown as to the number of math teachers that are leaving the system.
You're correct in terms of it's about this time in August that principals will be getting resignations from teachers. I don't have the overall figure yet because I guess the resignations would just be coming to us either at the region or here at Central Ministry. Anecdotally, when I speak with principals, I don't see the same level of anxiety that we saw in past years. And when I ask them about their figures, yes, they may see 1, 2, or 3, but not at the level they experienced, let's say, in 2022 or even in 2023. So I'm encouraged. I know that there are teachers who have already expressed a desire to leave the system, and I'm sure we'll get more. But to date, just anecdotally again, I'm not hearing the hue and cry from among our principals.
All right. Thank you, Minister.
Any more questions from the media? Are we taking anything online?
Okay.
Well, I'll have a follow-up since there's no other question. There was a story in the Gleaner yesterday that looked at the progress on some of the primary schools in St. Elizabeth, that were affected by Hurricane Beryl. So I wanted to find out from the ministry a report, because I think that our reports generally tend to focus on the high schools. So I want a progress report on the repairs being done at the primary schools, especially those in St. Elizabeth. And there are some primary schools that are in communities that are still without electricity, and we have an August 31 deadline. But what is the contingency plan just in case, the JPS doesn't live up to that deadline for school to reopen?
All right. The report that I have received is that many, if not all of our schools, and I'm saying this cautiously because we haven't called around yet to our principals to find out about electricity, is that electricity is being restored. On our list of schools, for the ones that reported that they have to do electrical repair work and so on, progress is being made there. Towards the end of today into tomorrow, we will make the rounds with our principal to find out about electricity, water, internet connectivity, and any other issues, because now it's when all schools are mobilized
to do cleanup and prepare school for September 2nd. But so far, PS, we haven't yet seen it. We may get it later in the week in terms of the reports on electricity and so on. Yeah.
We're relying on the 31st
Yeah.
deadline that was given by JPS.
Yeah.
But for our schools, majority of our schools will be ready. Recall that only about 35% of our schools were impacted by the hurricane, right? Which means 30.
Well, I can give some better numbers, PS. Right. So let me give the context. 1,009 schools across Jamaica. 902 of those we know for sure can open normally. For the ones that are in priority 1, that would have gotten their roofs damaged, that's 107. And we have been monitoring the progress there. As of Friday, I think we're confident on about, I would say, 90 of those, given where the work is. And for those for which we are seeing there might be delay, we're asking our principals to help us with a contingency plan. So a contingency plan could include temporary tent, could include using a church hall across the street, and we've seen at least 2 of those situations where, you know, the particular classroom block may not be just ready, will not be ready for September 2nd, but you know, a church hall can be used to facilitate that, can be used for a week or 2 to facilitate that. So we've seen those. Obviously, will everything be picture perfect on September 2? And that's not what we're saying. You know that the normal back to school comes with issues as well. And because of the magnitude of the destruction of some of our schools, some of the work will continue while schools are in session. And if there's a situation in which you can't use the building, there will be contingency plans in place. We will have to communicate on a school-by-school basis to our parents directly so that they know exactly what to expect come September 2nd. Right, so the principals will be sending out, we'll be having the meetings, sending out the communication to parents about the readiness of their schools. Most of the damage has been to roofs, so we're seeing resheeting of roofs, some windows. But in those cases, I can tell you, having spoken to about 95% of the contractors over the weekend to hear from them as to where they are, even though we do get a report through the region and through our building officers, but to hear directly from those persons who are doing the job. In some cases, let's say windows need to be replaced, but windows may not be on hand just yet. The old windows will be left in until we get the new ones. So, you know, those kinds of decisions are being made on the ground to help facilitate the reopening of school. And again, things will not be picture perfect. And I also want the press to remember that there are 139 schools on the priority 2 list that suffered damage, but it was determined that those schools can operate while the work is going on. So I am sure you will show up at one of those 139 schools and somebody will show you the hurricane damage, and they will probably say the ministry hasn't done a thing about this, but I want you to know that school, and our list is public, and we publish this at the beginning just so we remain honest with ourselves, and you can look and see if that particular school was determined to be a priority 2 or a priority 3 school that we've said can open, can operate while the work is being done, because the damage was such that it would not have impacted school reopening.
Thank you, Minister. This is my final question. It is unrelated to what was discussed here today. Minister, you have a wealth of experience and an admirable career in the finance sector. You've also been the first female to serve in the Ministry of Finance. Now that we've heard news that Dr. Nigel Clark is moving to the IMF, is that a role that you would be interested in taking up?
And you know already that I will not make a comment on that. Thank you.
Yes. Minister, we have a question from a member of our online audience. Honorable Minister, what plans do you have in place for technical and vocational areas? This is coming from Everett Fraser of the Jamaica Observer.
Okay. We've always had an emphasis on technical and vocational education and training. We've talked about it. We talked about the importance of it. We've emphasized it in many of our schools. We have a training institution dedicated to training teachers in TVET. It's called VTDI. Recently, we UTech also graduate teachers, TVET teachers. Recently, the NCT VET that does the certification and standard setting came under our wings as one of our entities. And I have always talked positively about TVET as very useful. It's a platform that is on par with the traditional education. We want to encourage TVET in our schools because the skills that you learn, the TVET skills, the TVET subjects will sufficiently equip our students to come into the world of work ready for the world of work. So our plans can only continue to strengthen in the TVET area.
Okay, Minister, I have one final question. This is from Luke Douglas. What is the latest on the MOEY book production contracts? Will the schools have the books for the new school year?
All right, so I know our PS is intimately familiar with that, and we have been trying our best to ensure that books are ready in schools.
Yes.
And so PS, I invite you.
Yes, as per usual, colleagues, the Ministry of Education will be providing textbook support, e-platform, e-books to our students, as we did last year. We spent a significant sum of funds resourcing our primary schools last year. Coming out of the pandemic, if you recall, we lost a number of our textbooks because our textbooks serve 3 to 5 years within the primary schools. But because of COVID, a number of our students did not return some of those texts. So we had to replenish all of the books for last year. So coming out of that, those books would have a life of 3 to 5 years within our primary schools. So the textbooks are already in our primary schools to support the teaching and learning process. We will again provide the consumables. You know, those are workbooks to complement what the parents will buy, especially at the early level in our primary schools. Because of the issue of numeracy and literacy, we will be providing our math and numeracy workbooks this year for our students. And of course, we continue to do the e-platform to support the preparation for exams, so PEP. So at grade 4, there is the e-platform that we pay for. So it's provided fully funded for the grade 4 students to support their preparation for their exam. And this is a resource that is tapped into by, parents who can afford more and can do more. And many of our prep schools, we have thought it necessary to provide that for our public schools as well. There's also the cheetah support that is provided from that provider for our primary school. So we have a mix. At the high school level, we continue to build that out. We started at a deficit last year because we, over the years, have been focused on the primary schools, giving them majority of the resources, so we have less of the issues or the low-performing areas moving up into the high schools. So since last year, we have refocused on our high schools. We gave the grade 7 and the grade 10 students, those who are moving into their subject programs, we gave textbooks for all those areas in full. And for the others, we gave a 10%. This year, we will be looking at grade 8 and I think grade 9 for their full support, and then the others will get their 10% top up. And we're way down the wicket with the procurement process, so our high schools and our principals can be assured that you will get the support materials to complement the teaching and learning. Parents, of course, you will get your book lists from your schools, and I know it's some of them will pull on you at this time because it's not an ordinary time. It's preparation for back to school, and you will have demands for textbooks, you will have demands for workbooks and other supplies, uniforms, shoes, etc. One of the strategies we recommend is to find out from your teachers, your principal, which are the textbooks that will be used in semester 1, and you prioritize those. So you don't necessarily have to expend all the funds at once. And I'm a mother and I do same, right? Because you may have a challenge and you want to make sure that what they need now is what they will get. And as you move throughout the year and the additional materials will come into semester 2, some subjects are semesterized. So you may not do a particular subject in our high school in semester 1. You will take it up in semester 2 or in semester 3. So you want to purchase the resource with that knowledge. So it's very important you ask, is this going to be a semester 1 subject, semester 2, or all-year subject? You want to prioritize those materials so you can, get the best out of what you have available to you now. You want to also be encouraged to utilize the materials. Parents, we have a lot of materials. Content is available. Yes, many of these textbooks, they, when use some strategies to pull the material together, but it is also available in the virtual space. But you will need guidance as to know which material is the best and more accurate, because everything is on the web. So you'll need some support to kind of pull it together. But content is available. What you need is to organize access and to also push for your students and to empower them to take responsibility for their learning. Not everything is about what happens in the classroom. You know from the history of education that a lot of extra work goes into students who do very well. So your daughter, your son, you will have to provide some support to ensure that the self-directed learning is taking place, whether or not a teacher is there. That child needs to put in some additional support and practice and mastery. That's what will make the difference. We also will be working with our schools this year, about 100 school CEOs. We will be providing the virtual school platform through one of our service providers, right? Where if a school does not have a particular teacher, that school will be given this resource where they can tap into live and recorded lessons. So there is always something to access to support learning on the ground. 100 schools, and I think the provider indicated last year that they are way down the wicket with providing the technical setup in these schools so the lessons can be beamed into the schools, and that gives access to expert teachers everywhere. So we may have a strong teacher in Campion or Immaculate, for example, and those teachers are available to record lessons, and we can bring that to you so you have access to those. That facility is now in the system. We introduced it last year. We had some challenges. We have learned from it, and we are coming bigger and better and stronger with the support. In addition to that, we have recorded lessons parents. Coming out of the pandemic, we moved expeditiously to record lessons with our expert teachers. Those are also available on the ministry's website. So if it is that you need some additional support, you may not be able to pay for extra lesson, but you can access the internet, right? Or you can download, because you may not need the internet once to download. This is also available. Learning resources and opportunities, they are available to our students. It's not a cost factor. It's the parent that is more aware and strategic and deliberate. The school that is more aware, strategic, and deliberate. And at the ministry, we'll try our very best, as we did. We have gone around this country this year, and we have met with our teachers in their different regions. We have met with our principals, and we have spent some time to go through available resources that schools can access, that parents can access, that teachers can access to enrich and enhance the teaching and learning experience. So we will not have a challenge this year. We will continue to support our parents with learning materials.
Thank you so very much to our Minister, Honorable Favor Williams. Thanks to our PS, Dr. Kessan Troop, our CEO, Mrs. Terrian Gale, more DCEOs who are here with members of the executive management team who have joined us online, parents, and of course members of the media. Thank you so very much for being here today. And as I say, or wrap this session up, just a reminder to all the students that we do celebrate you and we are here for you, clearly, at the Ministry of Education to help you with any shortfalls that you have. There's much work to be done, but as you heard, there's much work being done to ensure that we move on even better and you'll do even better next year. Thank you so very much for your time and have a wonderful afternoon.